All right. Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good week. Bear with me as we share this out. All right. What's happening, everybody? What is going on? Happy Friday. It's time for that HMG weekly wrap up. We're going to discuss some stuff that's been going on here at the network, some of the topics that we covered earlier in the week as well. Same old, same old. You know how it goes. If you are out there in the old interweb lands, jump on, say hello. Let me know where you guys are at. Oh, gotta add that too. All right, cool. Perfect. Just getting something in. Mark, I see you over on the IG, brother. How are you? Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Always good to see you jumping on. I love it. I love it. Let's dive into it, guys. Last Friday of the month. It's crazy. End of June. It's end of June already. Where has the time gone? June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. We've been talking about it all month. I'm bringing it up. It's the last Friday of the month. Guys, reach out. Don't let your pride get in the way. If something's bothering you, whatnot, let's talk about it. If you need somebody to talk to or listen, or you don't feel like somebody, is willing to listen, reach out to me. I'm definitely here. I want to hear from you. I'd rather, listen than to what you have to say than hear about something tragic. So, guys, let's stay on top of our health, mental health, and just health overall. Ken, good morning, brother. I see you there. Appreciate you jumping on. Um, Crazy week. I'm gonna do things a little bit different. Earlier this week, Tuesday night, I did a happy hour about the land grab uh, that's been going on. You've seen a lot of it on social media. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to continue that conversation, but I'm going to get through some of the other topics first, and then I'm going to end it with the land grab, because there's been some updates. And if you missed Tuesday night's happy hour show, we did a special on specifically for that topic. Go back and watch it. It's on our social media platforms at HM or at Heroes Media GRP. You can find the videos there. We had Trevor on from the the disgruntled PM, and then my buddy AJ Richards from the farm .com was also on the show discussing this land grab, what it means, and a lot of questions. So it's very interesting. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but let's dive into some of the topics and headlines that I found interesting this week. North Korea opens up Wonsan Kalmal site to bid to open up tourism industry. How many of you that watch this, leave a comment, would go travel to North Korea and visit North Korea? I'm really curious. How many of you would? Next week, so this came out yesterday. Next week, the new site or tourist zone is on the nation's East Coast, a project it calls a proud first step towards a tourism-driven economic reveal. This is very, very interesting coming from North Korea. The zone features high-end hotels and accommodations for nearly 20,000 people, seaside, swimming, sports facilities, dining halls, and right now this is just for domestic visitors. However, the state media has confirmed the opening for North Korea citizens as of next Tuesday. So next Tuesday. And I know we have a lot of followers in North Korea. Just kidding. A little sarcasm there. But and offered no timeline when foreigners can visit. The government has welcomed Russian tourists since February of 2024, and I guess a lot of they had a group of Chinese tours, which made up 90% of visitors, but they've suspended that. So there's a small international tour group entered earlier this year, but agencies halted that plan as of March. There are talks about opening it up to other countries, people to go visit North Korea. Found that to be interesting. How many of you would tour North Korea? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I would. Maybe. If, anyway, moving on. I just found that to be interesting. This one's coming down from DC. The White House condemns fake news reports doubting nuclear destruction. Okay. This one I found very interesting. The White House released a series of statements condemning reports alleging that the recent strikes on the Iranian nuclear facilities did not destroy them completely. So last week, airstrikes, U.S. airstrikes in Iran on nuclear sites. Mainstream media came out and said, "Hey, the worst it did was rumble, move some rocks around the facilities, didn't cause a whole lot of damage." Well, right now, in a quote, "We're doing a leak investigation with the FBI right now because the information for this was for internal purposes, battle damage assessments," end quote, says Pete Hegseth during the event. And CNN and others are trying to spin it to make President look bad when this was an overwhelming success. Here's the thing. I'm starting to see there's a lot of leaking and stuff going on in DC. Take it for what it's worth. That's just my 2 cents on it. Hegseth noted that the leak report was preliminary and of low confidence. The report from the DIA, or Defense Intelligence Agency, obtained by CNN, alleges that the strikes only weaken Iran's nuclear programs rather than destroying them. Here's the thing with this on Iran is Iran and their nuclear program has been a threat as long as I can remember. 80s, early 90s, maybe. This stuff has been talked about and talked about and talked about. So again, it raises a red flag for me, like what is really going on over there. I'm not saying Iran's good. I'm certainly not saying that. We've had problems with Iran on a world scale for a long time. But I can't help but to think that there's something else. It's like, this is what we're showing you, and here's what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah. Ken makes a good point about 200 scientists trapped under gasping for air under the rubble. Hopefully, I think the biggest thing with Iran, though, and I don't know. Again, this was just a headline that I found interesting, but I think if anything, it definitely slowed down their mining of uranium, if I'm not mistaken. I saw that in another article somewhere. So look this up. The fake news reports doubting nuclear destruction. David Willis, how are you, brother? Good morning to you. Appreciate you being here. So yeah, another interesting one. Iran, I think we're going to see this in the news for another month or two before it kind of fizzles out. So we'll see what happens here. This is going to be interesting. Moving on, California. Yes, we're taking it out to the West Coast. California leader urges gangs to fight against ICE. I, for one, am shocked. The vice mayor of Cudahy, I don't know how you say that. What city is that? Never heard of it. Anyway, has called for gangs to organize violence against ICE agents. This is a leader. The vice mayor of this town, small city, whatever, has called gangs to organize violence against ICE. The vice mayor, Cynthia Gonzalez, we'll make her famous here. Cynthia Gonzalez said in a video that she wants to know where the, quote, cholos, end quote, are, using the slang term for young Hispanic men involved in gang activities. Her words, not mine. She went on to list the gangs present in that area. What up, Gabe? So she says, quote, so don't be trying to claim no block, no nothing. If you're not showing up right now, trying to like help out and organize. I don't want to hear a peep out of y'all once they're all gone, she added, end quote. The Department of Homeland Security condemned the video in a statement, calling Gonzalez's comments despicable. Isn't it kind of crazy that you have leaders like promoting violence in their cities? I don't know. I found that to be interesting. You guys remember last week when I was talking about the down in Florida, the alligator Alcatraz? Well, it's back. It's back in the news this week. DHS approved it. The Department of Homeland Security approved Florida's proposal to create a migrant detention facility in the middle of the Everglades. Miami-Dade County Mayor criticized the development, saying the facility may have devastating impacts on the Everglades ecosystem. Okay, now last week I had talked about this could be a cool idea, like, because where are you going to go, right? You're in the middle of the Everglades. You're not swimming anywhere between all the pythons and gators and stuff like that. Nope. I'm staying put. And the idea initially, interesting. It's a hell of a way to put things. However, I will say this about what the mayor of Miami-Dade County said. The development may be devastating to the impacts of the Everglades. There could be that. The very well could be. I could see her point on that. I can also see. I was reading in another article that they pull a lot of the fresh water from the Everglades, which I'm not entirely sure how that works. But yeah, and the facility right now is not being used. Hasn't been used in years. It was an old airport, so would it? A lot of construction depends on the up. Again, tit for tat, right? I'm all for the idea of it. Sounds like a cool idea. I think nobody's going to escape from that. But at the same time, if it's going to ruin the ecosystem there in the Everglades, I don't know. But they have a overpopulation of pythons down in the Everglades too. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe that kill two birds, one stone kind of a thing. I don't know. Hillary, good morning. How are you? I appreciate you jumping on. Good to see you. All right, moving on. Next one. New Texas law prevents CCP land purchases. Governor Greg Abbott signed a bill into law that bans entities connected to the Chinese Communist Party from purchasing land in the state of Texas. The law will go into effect on September 1. In a comment, Governor Abbott is quoted, I signed the SB 17, which is the toughest ban on American preventing the sale of our land to other property to individuals and companies from China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia, end quote. Good move. Good move. Send them to Fort Irwin. They'll never escape. Ain't that the freaking truth? That or 29 Palms. Gabe, you were at 29 Palms, weren't you? So I think this is a good move on Texas. And this kind of brings up something about the land grabs, because this next one is coming out of a story out of New Jersey. I've talked about this one several weeks ago. So the Texas one, it's land here. So we're getting into the land thing. So that's why I'm prepping you for this. But this next story is out of New Jersey. Owner of a 175-year-old farm shocked as New Jersey town tries to seize land for, quote, affordable housing. Where have we seen this before? 175-year-old family farm in New Jersey is fighting to stay afloat as its co-owner is speaking out against efforts by the local government to seize the land for affordable housing. I can't make this up, guys. This has been in the news before. Like I said, I brought it up a couple weeks ago. There's been updates on this. Andy Henry discussed his and his brother Christopher's historic farm in Cranberry, New Jersey, and how they are fighting back against the eminent domain. The township announced an affordable housing plan that will allow local officials to seize the Henry family farm through an eminent domain seizure. This stems from a New Jersey mandate ordering that towns in the state build more than 146,000 affordable housing units by 2035. This pisses me off. This eminent domain thing is crap. And I think a lot of it is, I know there's ways around it. And I'm not going to get into the details on that here today. There are ways around it as far as like certain trusts and how it's this, that, and the other thing. But this is crap because they're using the affordable housing, right? And it's funny that they're using that as an excuse to take some family's 175-year-old farm. Here's the other question, and my friend David sent me some stuff. He made a good point after Tuesday night's show. How do they determine what's affordable housing? Whose pay are they going off of? This is happening in all the states. Arizona, I know it's happening down in Arizona, and this ties into the federal land sale as well. So just bear with me for a sec because I really want to talk about this. And I can tell that we're going to get shadow banned already. So share this out, like, and leave comments on this, guys, because this is when they don't like that I'm talking about something, people are like, I didn't even see you this week. Yeah, well, I wonder why. So this eminent domain seizure, and they're calling it because of affordable housing. I want to know what they consider affordable housing in that area, right? A lot of the times what they'll do is they'll take a number of the people that are working in that area, and the problem is their so-called affordable housing. There he is, David. Good morning. Their so-called affordable housing is not affordable to the people that are working in those jobs in the customer service industries and stuff like that. I think this affordable housing thing is just a hoax. I really do. This is for big companies to come in and make a ton of money. And what actually ends up happening is it hurts the community more. My opinion. Now, this is happening in New Jersey. This farm is in New Jersey. They want the township committee wants to seize a 175-year-old farm for affordable housing. Build it somewhere else. Speaking of land grabs, and look this one up too, guys. It's a 175-year-old farm shocked in New Jersey. If you Google that, it's a good article. It'll piss if you're like me, this will piss you off. I don't believe in the eminent domain seizures. Anytime somebody wants to come in and say, "Hey, we're taking the land from you," are you? Senator Lee overhauls controversial federal land sale plan. Let's get into this. Some of you on here now saw me Tuesday night. We did this show with my friend AJ Richards. Trevor Greenman was on as well. Trevor does the disgruntled PM project manager, and he took it from a project manager standpoint. He made some good points, but I've got some time to really think about this over the last couple of days. And they had, so on Tuesday night, we had AJ updated us and said, hey, they're pushing the date back or whatnot. Senator Lee comes out and says, hey, all you conservation, your conservatives and all you hunters, I hear you. Let's be honest. He doesn't. He's full of crap. And we knew this was going to happen to begin with. Right. So he comes out, released a new version of his unpopular plan to sell off public land across the West. After his first attempt gave so much pushback from the public and was flagged for violating Senate rules. Can you believe that? I can't. Why? A U.S. senator violating rules? No. That would never happen here in the United States. The new plan does not include, this is the new plan after Tuesday. The new plan does not include U.S. Forest Service land, but it still requires the BLM, Bureau of Land Management. That's what I'm talking about. So when I say BLM, it's not the other one. I'm talking about the Bureau of Land Management. Let's just be clear on that. To sell up to 1.2 million acres of national public land. This is limited to land within 5 miles of population centers. And that's a vague and undefined term that could apply to lands near virtually any community, right? So let's think about this for a second. You're selling off land that are near these communities. A lot of the time, what do you see around these communities? Trailheads, stop and ride your bike into the public land areas and whatnot. You got trails and stuff like that. So you're taking that away. That's what they're saying. That's how I'm interpreting this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I'm going to put this up there. Rich, good morning, brother. How are you? Appreciate you jumping on. David makes a good point. Praising private interest ain't that. Here's the thing. Like, if you want to sell public land, come to the table with a business offer. Hey, we're going to sell 1.2 million acres of public land. Here's what we're going to give the public. I'm going to give everybody $1.2 million each, because come up with some type of business plan. Don't sell me the hooker with the heart of gold. All right. Let's be honest. That's what they're doing. It's affordable housing. No, it's not. Sorry, but not really. So Senator Mike Lee, who's a Republican out of Utah, has introduced a scaled back version of his proposal to make some public lands eligible for sale after the last version was shut down by the Senate. And the new language released earlier this week calls for the selection of, quote, for disposal not less than 25% and not more than 50% of the Bureau of Land Management land within 60 days of the bill approval. So it's within 60 days after the bill's approved, start selling. Boom, 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 boom. Additional list of eligible lands would be published every 60 days after that until the acreage requirement is met. The revived draft strikes National Forest System lands from eligibility. Okay. In total, the amount of BLM land required to be sold would be a total up to 1.2 million acres across 11 Western states. Including Idaho, according to the Annals Public. This article I got is from Outdoor Life. Lee said that those opposition to the proposal were, quote, trying to dupe conservatives into believing it will somehow endanger the beautiful scientific or scenic landscape that makes the West so special, end quote. He also emphasized that the bill would only apply to land that is, quote, in or immediately adjacent to existing residential communities, end quote. That's where I got a problem with that part there, because if it's adjacent to residential communities, a lot of the time there are trails and stuff like that where people can go onto those public lands, hike, and so on. So there, I think there's a problem there. The revised proposal states that the BLM lands eligible for sale must be located within 5 miles of, quote, population centers, end quote. But that would be considered a population center in a context that is not defined. So there's no definition. There's still a lot of new language to this, and there's still a lot of questions that don't have answers. The new language also states that the eligible land could be disposed of to provide infrastructure and amenities to support local needs associated with housing. That is BS. We can't, come on, guys. We can't be buying this crap, can we? And here's the thing. Follow the money, right? There's too many questions that are not being asked, let alone being answered. Because one of the Trevor made a good point on Tuesday night, like, hey, this is going to take time to put this into play, and then once it's in play, you have new leadership in place, whether it's from the federal side of things or from the state and local municipalities. You know, new governor, new mayor, new whatever. So things could potentially change. David, what do we have here? Arizona does this with the state land all the time. Interesting. So, and I saw Arizona was on this one, David, as well. And I'm trying to think of the place. I can't think of the updated land that they were talking about for this new one, but the last one I knew was down by the Salt River, out on the eastern part of Maricopa County, out that direction, like is that Apache Junction, out that way. So, and I'm curious how Arizonans are okay. Are they okay with Arizona selling these public lands? Here's my hiccup with Arizona. And to be clear, my hiccup with Arizona, I'm talking about from like Black Canyon City south. Because you go northern Arizona is beautiful, and even that is starting to spread out a little bit. But I remember I brought up a story, I think it was last week or on Tuesday night. When I moved to Arizona, I was 15. It was 1992. It was summer of 92, and I remember the house we lived in, we were the last street in our development. And now when you go into that area, the development just goes for miles and miles and miles. And it's sad because it's like you see this beautiful landscape. I mean, Arizona is a beautiful state. I think it's got one of the most beautiful sunrises and sunsets that you'll ever see anywhere in the world. And that's from it really anywhere in the state. It's just it's gorgeous. The problem is like you're taking away all of this land, right? Then you got problems with animals, where the animals going to go. Here's the other thing, like where there's a water shortage. There's been for years. How do you want to keep building, but then you haven't addressed the water problem either. So here's your conspiracy for the day. When does this turn into like a water rights issue? Are they doing this to make people rely on the government's water rights? I know that they may seem far-fetched, but like water's getting to be like gold. It's almost like a currency. Really interesting, Ken. David soon. Yeah, it, here's the thing, I forget the gentleman's name, but he mentioned like, why do you see all these people doing these land grabs and private citizens doing these land grabs? Like Bill Gates, I think now it used to be Ted Turner had the most land in the United States, but I think Bill Gates has surpassed him. Um, but like water rights, like again, if you have the land and you own the water rights to it, right? So when is that going to become an issue? You take cities like Las Vegas out in the middle of the desert, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, they did it in Vegas. Look how that it's." You're telling me there's no issues in Vegas? Look at Lake Powell. I remember there was a time where the water you can see where the water that lake has dried up so much in the last 30 years. It's sad. What's going to happen when you run out of water and you're out in the middle of the desert? Here's the other thing. And this is where I think where you take like regenerative agriculture, put it in the desert, use that for water, and start making the desert not desert anymore. Anyway, I digress. How's everybody else doing today? Keep an eye on this land grab stuff, guys. And here's the thing, Adam, you're a conservationist, you're a hunter, so yeah, you're gonna take it personally. We talked about it on Tuesday that this stuff was happening in 11 states out west. I got family. I got friends that are on here, brothers on here that are watching this show live right now that are out west. This isn't a land grab for us. This is a land grab from our grandkids, our great grandkids. That's who they're taking away from. They're taking away from our kids and our grandkids. David, did not know that. Thank you for educating. Owning the land does not give you the rights to the water in Arizona or Utah. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna look that up. That's very interesting, and I want to see what happens then. This. I love it, David. I appreciate it, and I loved your response that you gave me the other night. Thank you. So the reason why I say this is because we're focusing on the West, and then I brought up earlier in the show about the land grab here over in New Jersey. Like this place is like 2 hours from where I'm at currently. You know, and they're calling it affordable housing. That seems to be everybody's thing, affordable housing. Again, David educated me on like I want to know how do they determine what's affordable? Because a lot of these people in the service industries, they say, "Oh, it's this, it's this, it's this," and then you look and it's like they still can't afford anything. And then you make it affordable housing, then you jack the prices up on your groceries and everything else around the area, so it's still not affordable. By the time the electric bill comes, gas bill and groceries and gas and daycare and all this other stuff, it's not affordable. My opinion. Ken, mineral rights as well. Yeah, that's a good one. You guys are giving me some ideas on a topic I think we should do a show on as well here in a couple of weeks. I want to research this stuff more, and if you guys want to chime in more on that, I'm open to that because this is good. I think this is going to be an issue, guys. This is something that we got to pay attention to. But I'm running out of time, so we got to move on. I want to talk about an event that's coming up out here. There's a great organization, nonprofit organization called Pass the Torch for Veterans. These guys are great. They're based in Delaware, and they do some events down here. They got a chapter down here in Pennsylvania. They got a veteran and family community event coming up Saturday, July 19th. So we got a couple weeks away. So if you're in the Pennsylvania area, particularly Nottingham, The Barn of Nottingham. They're going to be doing. They got veteran resources, local vendors, nonprofits, live music, kids attractions. Reach out to Lindsey Johnson or Vernon Miller. Great people. Pass the torch PA at outlook.com. These guys are great. They've been huge supporters of Heroes Media Group. They love it when we come out with the coffee. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make it this year, guys. I've told them that because I'm going to be out of town, but outstanding organization. I love what they're doing and want to support them. So if you're in the Pennsylvania area, those of you that are watching this, my friends that are out east here, please share that. A lot of you know that I tend to have my hands in a lot of different places, right? We got the media company here. We got our sister company, HMG Beverage, which are going to be roasting coffee later today. We also have a new company called the Maker's Machine. This is not your typical networking event. It's not your typical damn it, what are Toastmasters? That's what I'm trying to say. It's nothing like that. If you want to learn what other driven entrepreneurs are saying behind the scenes, this isn't like another Facebook group. This is where real business builders, makers get honest, focused, and dialed in. So what we do is we meet every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we've got more than a dozen people across the country right now in one of our groups. And so what we did is we created this, and we are licensing this for people to create their own Maker's Machine. If you're a business owner or you're thinking about starting a business and you need some guidance, whether it's on business, podcasting, real estate, underwater basket weaving, whatever, and you want a lot of the times entrepreneurs, we have a problem with, they say it's lonely at the top, and you feel like you don't really have anybody that understands or to go to. People in the Maker's Machine understand, and they're there to support. They want to see you make whatever it is that you're making. They want to see your business succeed. So if you're interested, please send me an email there you go, right there at the bottom of the screen, media@heroesmediagrp.com. Let me know if you guys are interested. I'm going to leave that email up. Last week I mentioned a new thing that I wanted to do here on Heroes Media Group, and I've gotten a couple of stories this past week already. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Keep them coming. We're doing a new hero story. Discover the new hero story series from us right here at Heroes Media Group. We're spotlighting real life community heroes who are changing lives quietly without the spotlight, right? Let's shine some light onto these community heroes. Let's recognize them. We live in a time where real stories get buried under clickbait and outraged and noise. We live in you guys have heard me say it every week. It's a bunch of negative crap, right? So let's start creating more positive stories out there. Let's start sharing those. You guys know what I'm talking about. Heroes, right? They're the ones pulling double shifts as an EMT while raising a family. They're the teachers behind, buying their own supplies out of their own pockets. They're the veterans building businesses and quietly mentoring others through the storms. Could be your neighbor. Could be whatever. Let's start sharing some of these positive stories. All right. So if you or someone could be considered a hero and has a good story, send me an email right there, right at the bottom there, media@heroesmediagrp. I'm going to send you a form to fill out. Just ask them some basic questions, and let's highlight those people. Let's highlight some people. Let's start sharing some more positive stories. All right. That's what we're about. All right. Moving on. Let's dive into some of the shows. Going to go through these quick. What time do we got here? Boom. All right. We're doing good. Double S Podcast. Find them on YouTube. Double S Podcast on YouTube. They do lives, and you can see them live Sunday night right here on HMG platform. Check them out. Veteran Dad Podcast. This week, they're talking about wasps. I don't know why I'm laughing. Wasp, like the bees, wasps, like little stingers. It's that time of year. Anyway, find out why these dads are talking about wasps and their kids. Veteran Dad Podcast. It's an interesting episode. Next up, Unapologetic Veteran. This week, CEO and co-founders of VB 422, Ride with a Purpose. Good show. Check them out. That's the Unapologetic Veterans Podcast. Hey, real quick, guys, just a reminder, all of our shows can be found. Go to our website, heroesmediagroup.com. If you haven't been to our website, please go check it out. We've did a complete revamp earlier this year, and we're trying to get some momentum there. So, we switched a lot of servers. We switched everything else around. So by all means, please go check it out. Let me know what your thoughts are. All right. This is the one you guys have been waiting for. The disgruntled PM. This week, we talked about it, gave you a teaser last week about Pappygate. This week, Sheriff Pat Milton shares his unique experience as the sheriff of Franklin County, Kentucky, particularly focusing on the infamous bourbon thief incident involving Pappy Van Winkle. He discusses the challenge of managing a high-profile case, the importance of crisis management, different techniques used to solve the case. The conversation highlights the intersections of law enforcement and project management, showing how strategic planning and public engagement played crucial roles in the investigation of the Pappy Van Winkle case. This is a part 1 of 2. This show does not disappoint. This was a very, very interesting. If all you bourbon and whiskey drinkers out there, you've probably heard of Pappy Van Winkle. This was a very cool episode. Part 1 of 2. Part 2 comes out next week. Check it out. The Disgruntled PM. Next up, Speak Up, Show Up, Lead. That's the new podcast, the Resilient Leadership Podcast with JJ Hardy. That's also just happens to be the name of JJ's new book, Speak Up, Show Up, Lead. This week, he sits down with Dave Underwood, Global Executive Recruitment and Governance Lead at John Deere. He's an Army veteran and passionate advocate for veteran career transition. Some of the things that they explore, how military discipline translate into corporate excellence, the power of mentorship and meaningful networking, and what it takes to lead a team of global executive recruiters. It's a pretty cool episode. John Deere, they're not sponsors of the show. If you want to sponsor, I could use a tractor, just throwing it out there. They hire a lot of veterans over at John Deere. I've known several people in executive positions over at John Deere. So this was a cool episode. Check it out. Keep it spiritually simple with our gal, Sandra McEllis. You can see her shows live on our videos on YouTube. Go to Sandra McEllis on YouTube. The strategic veteran this week, Monica Kaufman. Straight talking wealth strategist and founder of Harmony Wealth Academy. She's daughter and granddaughter of soldiers and a mom to a U.S. Army officer. She turns tangled budgets into freedom plans for veterans and their families. Another cool episode. Check it out. Was it the John Deere comment, David? I mean, what am I live in a community. Like, what am I going to use a tractor for? I don't know, but I'm a guy. I want a tractor. Don't judge me, people. Senior living guide. Oh, some of us need to pay attention to this one. This week, Christy and Paula from Commonwealth Senior Living. They share insights on fostering meaningful relationships and creating personalized experience for residents, emphasizing how these connections contribute to a fulfilling life in assisted living. This is we also dive into heartwarming stories of unexpected romances in senior communities. and a joyful celebrations within senior communities showcasing how life continues to blossom for residents. Listen, we sometimes joke about the senior communities and whatnot. This is a great podcast, and it's got a ton of resources for people who's, either getting up there in age, uh, and that have maybe your parents or maybe your grandparents that are looking at, having some issues and whatnot, and they have to go into some type of senior community. Seniorlivingguide.com, again, a ton of resources, and they make things very easy to understand for the families, because some communities and whatnot, it's insane how much how expensive this stuff is. These guys have it right. They're doing it right, and they're bringing on a lot of companies and organizations to educate people to make it easier for you. So seniorlivingguide.com is the website. Go check it out. Patriots Inside the Wire. We're talking about the two-step tribe, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. Ton of musical guests, and they have been overloading right now. It's unbelievable, the shows that they've been doing. You can see them live on Facebook at Patriots Inside the Wire or the Two-Step Tribe. Tracy Two Steps and Uncle Rhino, they put on a fantastic show, and they have a lot of great guests, so check it out. Next up. Thank you, David. I thought it was a great segue. Arms Room Show. Arms Room Show. They had a topic this week, and they got off that topic, and they took it to a whole nother direction. And it was a great show. I watched this show live. Talking about, should you have two phone numbers or several emails and for spam and this and that and what. It's a very interesting show. And Glenn makes a lot of great points with it. How to protect yourselves. If you don't have two, maybe you guys don't know this, but you can get a free Google number. Push all the spam stuff to that number. Anyway, next week, this coming Monday, they're going to be discussing how to treat hypothermic shock and why it's such a critically important step to teach. So another great show coming up. They do a show live every Monday at 2 p.m. Arizona time. Check it out. All right, Misfit Nation podcast. We saw Rich on here a little bit earlier. This week, he welcomes Joshua Daniel, a retired Master Sergeant with 20 years of service in the U.S. Special Operations from the elite ranks of the 75th Ranger Regiment and Special Forces. He transitioned from a warfighter to purpose-driven leader. He's the founder of Counterculture Solutions, where he trains others in personal protection, mindset mastery, and purposeful living. My God, I can't talk. He also served as the president of Hero Games Charity. It's a pretty cool organization. I've checked them out, which hosts an annual event of honoring fallen special operations soldiers by bringing their families together. Cool episode, Misfit Nation podcast. They do several a week, so check it out, Misfit Nation podcast. I got to stop looking at the comments right now. Tractors. What was that? What was another song? Vince Gill singing something. She got about my old John Deere. Isn't that right? That's Vince Gill. God, that's an old one too, right? Anyway, moving on. We got your 6 at 6 with the People's Patriot Project this week. Louis Shockley on the episode, there to introduce us to his mission before 22 a day. What does that mean? Take a listen and find out. People's Patriot Project, they do a couple of shows a week. The one I'm talking about happens every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's like a roundtable event. I absolutely love it. They do a great job. and it's fun. They do a good job with the People's Patriot Project. Check it out. I skipped one. Homefront Sit Rep podcast. Our man David Willis was on here earlier. They did a tip of the spear. So the last Wednesday of the month, they do what they call tip of the spear, and there's podcasters from literally all over the world. And I got to haven't been able to jump on it, but I was catching it as I was listening to it as I was driving last night, and just a great show that these guys put on. And David Willis from Homefront Sit Rep podcast, he's kind of the mastermind. He's the one that harnesses this and puts this all together. So if you get a chance, go to Homefront Sit Rep podcast, check it out because it was live there earlier this week. Other side of the firewall. This week, they're talking the rising threat of cyber attacks on retail, particularly in the UK, but it's starting to happen a lot here in the United States, and how these incidents are affecting supply chains and consumer access to essential goods. This sucks. This sucks a lot. They explore the implications of these attacks for businesses, the potential for increased regulation, and they share personal experience related to online shopping and car buying. So if you guys want to learn more about IT stuff, and we all should in the world that we live in today, check out the other side of the firewall, because they do a show Monday through Friday, and it's very consumable and make it easy. Like even I can understand it. So check it out. All right. Chasing happiness. The last one for the week. If you're feeling anxious, stuck, or like God is silent, this episode's a reminder that storms don't stop you. They shape your strength, your mindset, and your faith. This is a good example and a great one to end on for the week. Chasing happiness. Check it out. Let me give some shout outs real quick. My Tax Fella. Thank you. These are all, please guys, go check out these companies. My Tax Fella, From the Farm. Go check out Forget Genetics, Jim Neary's Live Bait and Tackle, Warriors on the Water LTD, The Freedom People, Fin Tactical, great group over there, VA Claim Builder. You vets out there that need your claims, go to that. It's a free tool. JB Auto Clothiers, and of course, HMG Beverage, our sister company. David, have a great weekend, brother. I appreciate you jumping on, man. Be safe. And I'll let you know if I get that tractor. Guys, pay attention to what's going on next week. What's going to happen July 4th? Who's ready for July 4th? That's already here. Next week is July 4th. I will not be doing the show. I have a fill-in, Mr. Gene Campbell. So that doesn't mean that we're not doing the show. The show is going on. It just won't be with me next week. Gene Campbell from True Patriot Outfitters and Double S Podcast is going to be doing the weekly wrap-up. He's stepping in for me next week. Gene, appreciate you, brother, for doing that. Next week, I'm going to be out. We're going to be driving. I'm going to be on tour now, starting Monday. I'm going to be up in Wisconsin. We'll be in Missouri. We'll be in Texas. I'll be on the road for the next couple of months. So the next time you guys see me, it will not be in this office setting. We'll be doing a lot of videos over the summer. We got my cameras are ready to go. So come join me. Come join me and be on tour. If I'm going to be in your neck of the woods, then I'd love to meet up with you guys. So as far as this weekend goes, protect your minds, watch what you consume, get outside. You know, the weather's nice out for the most part. Get outside and be positive, guys. I appreciate you all being here. Let's end this on this June on a great note, and let's get ready for July, because next week, Independence Day, 4th of July. Be respectful, everybody. Until then, God bless you. God bless America. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.